What's up, guys? It's Robbie Maloff. Each year, I do usually a speech or a little bit of a write-up on social media when it gets close to an anniversary for my business, my gym, Limitless BJJ Fitness in Cincinnati. And this year, I just want to do a video kind of to recap for people that don't really know me too well or know about my business or my upbringing, kind of share with you guys my journey and kind of how we got to 6 years and how I got to this place in my life, which has been really amazing. And I've had some incredible experiences. So yeah, I want to start from the top. So first thing, I opened my academy June 16th of 2014 at the age of 22. A lot of people are always like really surprised, like, wow, you were only 22 when you opened your academy. Yeah, that's correct. I went to the University of Cincinnati in 2010 to 2014. During that period, I took 2 breaks. And kind of my college journey was more of a journey for myself. I was trying to figure out, like most college kids and a lot of people that are going to school now, like what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be. And college was a gateway for me to figure out more about myself. Now, at 22, 21, 19, 18, so on and so forth, you still don't really know anything about yourself. You're still learning so much. And even at 28 now, I look back and think, wow, what I thought I knew then is incredible compared to what I know now and what I'll probably say when I'm 30 and 35 and 40. So it's just, as you age, you learn so much more. And there really is wisdom with time and age. So college really got me to a point where I was like, well, I want to do martial arts. Martial arts is what I want to do, and I'll find a way to do it. And that's what led me to here. So to backtrack a little bit more to give people kind of even more of a background, I started doing mixed martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling all at once, essentially. I had wrestled 1 year in middle school when I was in 8th grade. My father was really into boxing. I had a great-grandfather who was a professional boxer, a great-great-uncle who was a professional boxer here in Cincinnati too. So martial arts was always kind of ingrained in me. And my dad, the summer before going to high school, had taken me to Rob Bradford's gym, Boxing for Fitness, when it was where Vision MMA is now. And I went and did a couple classes, and I really loved it. And I did some, the fitness boxing class that Rob had, and I ended up doing some jiu-jitsu on a mat that some guy rolled out, and I really enjoyed it. And after doing that for a little bit, I finally enrolled in like a true martial arts gym up in Westchester, where I trained with that academy for about 6 years. 6 years until I was 21. So I had a little bit of training at, this Boxing for Fitness with Rob Bradford. I had wrestled 1 year, and then I was around 15, I think, when I officially ended up joining the MMA gym I was at for, 6 years, and where I got my purple belt. So during that time, I trained as much as I possibly could. My mom was a, single mother, and she was raising my sister and I, working super hard. We went through obviously a huge recession in 2008, which was also during the time that I was training, still in high school. And so times were tough. And my mom worked so hard to raise my sister and I, and really supply the best life she possibly could for us. And I've always respected that. And I've always admired that hard work, that work ethic that she instilled in us, and also just most of my family instilled in us. And I was just a dedicated little kid. I was somebody who all I wanted to do was, once I got into martial arts, was just train martial arts 24/7. That's all I wanted. That's all I cared about, was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, doing MMA, doing kickboxing, getting rides to the gym. Nothing else really mattered to me. School was never a point of interest for me. School was something to just get me through the day so then I could get to the gym. And again, I did my very best for the first probably 2 years, 3 years until I got my license, to train 3-4 days a week. And towards the end, it was probably more like 5 or 6 days because the drive was so far. I had friends that eventually I made from the gym, and they'd give me rides back and forth, and it was awesome. So that helped me, train even more, and I cleaned the gym, and trade for a membership because money was tight. I was a high school kid who was, working multiple jobs. I mean, I worked every job you could imagine. I worked at Montgomery Inn. I was a host at Tabby's Bar and Grill. I was a lifeguard. I worked as a dishwasher in a kitchen. I had a sales job. I mean, I had so many different jobs. I was a paper boy. So I worked all these, more traditional jobs that you work growing up. And that was just, again, to get me through to get to the gym, to whatever I had to do to get to the gym, which was the end goal. Make money to pay for a membership or pay for gas money, whatever it took. That was my end goal. So to fast forward, I ended up training. I was at my gym for about 6 years, and the vibe just wasn't what I wanted. I start feeling pretty early on that even though I loved training and I loved the art, that the people that I was training with, not all of them, because there were some good guys, were very negative, very critical, and honestly were very verbally and physically abusive to me. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that my first gym as a teenager, I was verbally and physically abused at times, more verbally. But physically, there were times where men that were much older than me, much older than me, were sparring with me when I was 15, 16, 17, and literally just trying to beat the brakes off of me. And early on, I truly thought that that was normal. I thought this is what you do if you want to be a fighter, if you want to be tough. And for many years, I would just essentially be thrown in with guys that I had no business sparring with or training with. Partially, you could say it was earlier on in the beginning where people didn't know as much about, safety and precautions and sparring. You don't need to do it as much. But there was also a level of just being bullied and being treated very poorly. And regardless of what I would say to defend myself or how I would act, which truthfully, even looking at what is considerably bad or being disrespectful, I really wasn't those things. I was an adolescent boy who got bullied, who got targeted. And of course, being who I am, I never just sat back and took it. I defended myself. And so anytime I would defend myself to what I considered to be a bully in the gym, I would get backlash. I would get ridicule. I would get beat up for that. I would be targeted. And I, again, at a point, started to realize as I became a young adult, 19, 20, realized that there's a lot of really sick, twisted individuals, in my opinion, in this gym. There were things that were said to me in my first gym that I'll never forget. And I'm not prepared at this point in my life to repeat because this is public. Someday I'll share it, but I still have enough respect for myself and for some people to not put them on blast. Not yet. But it's to be known that the way I was treated was unacceptable. And if I would have ever shared the things that were done and said to me at my first gym as a teenager to my mother, one, I wouldn't have been able to train. And because I love the art so much, I would keep it to myself. And yeah, there were times where I would go home and cry. And I never shed a tear in front of these men that treated me so poorly because I didn't want them to see that, because that's what they wanted. They were sick individuals that were battling their own demons, that had their own problems that they were dealing with. And it's evident as I'm a grown man now to see how twisted some of these people were. And again, I came up at an MMA gym, so I saw what it was all about. And I admire the toughness that so many people had, and that did get instilled in me. But was it done right? I don't think so. I think that you have to treat students, members, and especially the youth, even if you want to make them good, with respect. And you got to build people up. And for whatever reason, regardless of what people thought, I was never really built up in my first school. I was never really treated super well. I think I could have became way more successful way sooner if I would have been treated better. And again, it wasn't every single person. I had some good coaches. I had some good mentors, but the majority of people really just wanted to beat me down. And that's the truth. I was a young kid. I was talented. I worked hard. And I don't know. I was just targeted. I really don't. I don't know. It happens in gyms. And people can say I was annoying, but I was a kid. I was a teenager. So to fast forward and not get too stuck on that chapter of negativity, I realized at 21 that one, I wasn't passionate about training as much anymore. I wasn't really happy where I was anymore. I saw through all the bullshit. I realized that this academy wasn't going to take me to where I wanted to be. I realized that even though I'd been there longer than most of the people at the time in that gym, that I still didn't get any respect. And so I left. There was a bit of a falling out. I had a decision, and I ultimately decided that it was time to move on. So I left. I went through a year of like soul searching. I'm 21, I'm in college. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. At this point, I was, I think, 5-0 in MMA. I was a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. I had a chip on my shoulder, of course, because of how I was treated. And I just soul searched. So I ended up personal training for a while, starting a little business, going to people's houses, doing in-home training, started an LLC, Limitless Athletics LLC, which was established in August of 2012. And I took my passion of, working with others and caring for others, and also from my experience from teaching at my first academy, and took that elsewhere to make some income. I didn't like the idea of being a quote unquote broke college student. So I eventually got in touch with a gentleman named Tony Pajali at Adrenaline Sports and Fitness in Westchester. And he had a sports training facility, which he still has to this day. And he essentially took me under his wing. He allowed me to work out of his gym, be an independent contractor, and build a nice little business. I took a semester off in college because I just knew I wanted to save up money. And during this time, I would just roll out a wrestling mat that I bought and have certain people I knew and were friends with through the community come roll with me and train. And that's essentially what I did for almost a year. Before then, I finally met Vitor Oliveira and joined GF Team. And that happened, I believe, towards the end of 2012. Yeah, I think it was right around the end of 2012. My old friend Luke Zachridge told me, hey man, I know you're floating around. I think there would be a good opportunity for you to, check out my gym in Columbus. And once I met Vitor and trained with Vitor and felt the vibe, I was like, you know what? This is better. This is something I hadn't felt. It still was a strong environment. It was still a lot of, ego, of course, because there's always ego, including my own and others. But the environment felt better. It felt positive. It didn't feel like people just want to beat you down. People want to see you succeed. And that was something that I never felt at my first gym. I never felt like people truly want to see me succeed. And again, I think there is a point where it's beyond tough love. It's abusive. It's too critical. What is the fine line where you keep beating somebody down? And I didn't feel that with Vitor or GF Team or Luke or Ronan. So for the next year to 2 years, I would drive up to Columbus multiple times a week in my beater Hyundai Sonata while still in college, okay? After I took my break, I came back to college while still training, and I did this all for a couple years. So again, I was going to school, I was working, I was driving up to Columbus to train. I was running my own club in Cincinnati. I was driving to people's houses. I was doing whatever I could do to be successful, to save up money, and to figure out what it is I really wanted to do. Speed up a little bit of time. My father passed away. He was very sick, and he wasn't too involved in my life in general, but he passed away in 2013. And when my father passed away, that's when it really hit me that life is extremely precious and time is extremely precious. Time is something we can't get back. Time is something we can't buy. Time is something that will just come and go no matter what you do. And when I realized that, something inside of me, it shook me. It lit a fire inside of me and told me, you need to figure out what you want to do with your life. Even if it's not spot on, you have to make a decision, because school isn't what you want. Driving back and forth to Columbus, no problem. Personal training, making some money, no problem. But is this sustainable? And the answer was no. So I met a friend in college that I knew. He gave me this opportunity to open up some space out of some space that he was already renting. So essentially I subleased from him downtown. And in 2014, I took the plunge. I just had all the money I'd saved up. No, nobody gave me money. No, nobody handed me anything. I signed a lease. I had my money saved from personal training. I took all the money I had and I invested it in my gym downtown. Now, was the downtown gym amazing? No, it wasn't the best situation. Parking sucked. You had to get in the elevator, but it was an opportunity. It was the beginning. And I even remember hiring a business consultant because I was 22. I didn't know what I was doing. I was winging it, essentially. I knew I had the drive and the determination to make whatever I was going to do successful, but I didn't know all the steps. I didn't know all the legalities. I didn't know you had to have insurance and what it was going to truly take to sign people up and work the software and have a phone line and a phone number. I mean, all these things you just don't think about until you run a business. And my consultant told me, don't do this deal. The deal isn't good. The guy you're working with, it's not going to work out. It's a bad idea. So I thought about it, and I just told myself, I made a promise to not just myself, but to my dad. I'm taking a semester off from school. I've already come this far. I got to do this. I got to take a chance. So I did. I opened up the academy against, other people saying, you're too young, finish school. This is a bad idea. It's not going to work out. The criticism, I'm sure my first gym talking mad shit about me. He's not going to make it work. Other people just criticism left and right. It was tough. It was. And, within the first 6-7 months, I was enjoying it. I was working super hard. I was living off of a couple $100 a month. I was living at home, of course, so I at least had the ability to live somewhere and not pay rent. But I was driving my 2001 Hyundai Sonata with 220,000 miles on it, busted windshield. I was going back and forth from Loveland to downtown multiple times a day. I was still doing some in-home training because I needed to make money. And I was just trying to get by any way I could. But I was fortunate that I had good people in my life. I had friends. I had students that became friends that helped me build the gym, helped me bring new people in the academy, helped me train for competitions, helped me do all these things. So to fast forward a little bit more, in 2015, after about a year in this space and realizing things weren't necessarily working out with the downtown location, I was very fortunate to find a location, Walnut Hills, where I ultimately moved my gym. And then I moved to Walnut Hills also. And just coincidentally, I live very close to my academy, which worked out great. And that was a huge turning point for me in my life, because I was finally truly independent on my own. I wasn't subleasing space out of somebody else's space. I had my own true facility. And when I moved, it was hectic, same deal, still learning the business, but I put my nose to the ground. And for really the first 3 years, some people don't know this, I ran the whole show. I had one other instructor who taught one other group of classes. Outside of that, I was teaching all the jiu-jitsu classes, and we had 3 or 4 cardio kickboxing classes a week. And I was cleaning the mats, and I was signing people up, and I was promoting, and I was doing social media, and I was doing everything. Everything I was running from thing to thing to thing to thing. And that's what I did the first 3 years. I really had to work my butt off to get to where I am and where I was at that time. And it was draining. But you know what? We got through it and made it happen. So as time went on, we grew, we got bigger. I was able to hire a general manager, and I was able to have things more organized. I was able to bring somebody in to teach at my academy who was a high-level jiu-jitsu black belt, a couple who did that for 6 months. I was able to grow my gym even more. I was able to promote my first 2 black belts. I was able to compete and travel all over the world. Well, not all over the world, but Israel. I got to go to Italy and all over the US over the last 6 years while building my business and teaching and trying to learn and understand this industry. I was able to do all these things. And now I was able to come back to MMA after such a long layoff because the timing was finally right. The timing finally felt right. And that's what it took. It needed to feel right. So throughout this whole course, the biggest determining factor through all this, it wasn't money. It wasn't even the location of the gym. It wasn't, it was some of the people involved. There was a lot of good people, but if there was one big thing that I think got me to this point, it wasn't about being super smart or the best at jiu-jitsu or MMA, because I'm not. It was about being determined. It was my determination. And it's one thing if this whole video gets watched or fast forward, whatever, if there's one message I can send to anybody watching this as I go into 6 years of business on my own as a 28-year-old, now grown man who was just 22, who didn't know anything 6 years ago, is if you're determined, if you're focused, and if you're resilient, and you're willing to truly sacrifice, and I mean sacrifice anything and everything, you will be successful. And I know you watch tons of YouTube videos out there and tons of Instagram things and memes and this, that say the same thing, but I promise you that I'm a byproduct of just hard work, determination, and being resilient. I learned so much along the way. I wasn't given anything. Nobody handed me the keys to my gym. Nobody gave me money to build what I built. Nobody built my lifestyle but me. I had a lot of good people along the way to be a part of the journey, and we all brought each other up, but I was the foundation. And you can be the foundation to your own dreams, to your own goals, to your own whatever you want in life. You don't need to make excuses. You just need to get out there and do it, and trial and error is fine. You will succeed, you will fail, but you will learn. And in 6 years, what I've learned more than anything is being honest, is being truthful with yourself, and being willing, okay, to evolve is critical if you want to grow and develop, and being open-minded. You have to be willing to be honest. You have to be open-minded, okay, and you have to be willing to evolve. Those are so important in life, okay? So 6 years to me means so much. And the thing that I always wanted when I was decided I was going to open up a gym was, one, to never, ever have an environment like the first gym I was in, to make sure each and every single student that ever came through my door, whether they stayed or they left, had a good experience. And we've tried our best with every single person. I've always wanted everybody to feel welcomed, to feel appreciated, to feel loved, to the best of our ability. Of course, not every single person fits perfectly with our environment, but we've always been a happy-go-lucky, fun family environment. And that's always what we will be. We try to raise people up, not break them down. We are tough on certain students that want to reach the top, that want to be successful, but we don't abuse them. We don't treat them poorly. We make them better. We bring people up. And that's what Limitless is all about. Limitless is about breaking past any limitation that you think you have. Any goal that you think is maybe unattainable, we're going to help you get there, or we're going to try our best to help you get there. There's no guarantees in life, but if you are willing to work hard and you are also determined and you trust the process, we will help you get there. My academy is more to me than just a gym. Of course, for me, it's my life. For my students, it's maybe more of a hobby, but the people who have really been there for the last couple years, last year, they have hopefully seen how passionate we are about what we do, and how much, not just myself, but my staff, my students, and my team, and everyone cares about each other. And to me, that's what's most important, because again, I didn't feel that in my first gym. I always wanted others to feel that. So I want you guys all to know, my students, my friends, my family, anybody watching, that you guys are my family, and I care about you guys. You guys have a special place in my heart. You always will. You guys are extended family to me, and I'm just thankful to be at this point in my life where I can say, I made it. 6 years. Wow, what a journey. And I still have so much to learn. I still have so much further to go in my life, personally, professionally, spiritually, everything. I still have tons of things I want to accomplish as an athlete. I still have tons of things I want to accomplish as a business owner, as a leader, as an instructor, and I will always do my best to improve and work harder and grow, because I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I'll be the first one to do my best to learn from these things and grow from them and go further. So all my friends again out there watching, or anybody who comes across this video who made it this far, again, if you're lost and you're not sure what you want to do, take some time and really try to hone in on maybe one or two things that you are passionate about in life. And take a substantial amount of time, 6 months, 3 months, a year, and give it all you got. And no matter what happens, no matter how many hurdles you hit, No matter how much criticism you get, or no matter how hard it gets, promise yourself that you will push past your limits and you will give it everything you got. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, you learn from it. So in the end, it's a win-win. So I always said this, it's cliche, it's kind of cheesy, but I want you guys to all live limitless. And I'm excited for this coming Saturday. We are going to celebrate 6 years, promotions, and to the future of the gym, to everybody a part of it, to all my friends, my mentors, my mom, my dad, rest in peace, all the people that have influenced me some way or another, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, my cousins, all my close friends. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this journey. And I just can't imagine what the next 6 years will bring and what next year will bring. And, no matter what happens in life, we will always find a way. We will always overcome.